We are back and talking even more Helldivers as Arrowhead has been doing a little bit of cooking behind the scenes, revealing update 1.003.103 earlier today. Now, I'm a little late to post my recap of today's changes because number one, it was way too early this morning when they went live with these, and number two, I wanted to test out a few of the listed changes to see what may have happened, which I'll show you during this video. We also received one of the capes, this one for the defense of Super Earth from the Illuminate invasion, and we also have some new known issues hitting the board, so watch for those a little later in the video. Thanks again for your awesome support for my Helldivers content, and in case you haven't done so already, the easy and free way to support the channel is to hit subscribe and to ring the notifications bell, which goes a long way to tickling the YouTube algorithms, which in turn places this video in front of more eyes. And it goes on from there. And with all of that now out of the way, let's dive into what changed this morning with Helldivers. Upon logging in this morning, you're going to be met with a small 119 meg patch for Steam PC. And by the way, I would appreciate my PlayStation viewers out there posting how large the patch was for them in the comment section below. But the message shows the Protector of the Heart cape to commemorate our defense of Super Earth has now been issued and will slowly be deployed into Helldivers inventories as long as you were an active player between the dates of May 13th up to June the 2nd. Overall, it does look really good with all those gold highlights, the Super Earth globe overlaid with the gold Helldivers icon, and what looks like a V for victory. Now, in terms of the delivery times, Arrowhead did post that the deployment was through the back end and was not part of the patch, and could therefore take some time to arrive for everyone that will be receiving it. In addition to the cape, the game received update 1.003.103 with a host of changes made to everything from balancing to miscellaneous fixes, weapons, stratagems, and even enemies. Let's start off with what I know many of you want to know about, weapon and strat changes, and the new Judge Dredd P92 warrant pistol actually saw 4 changes, which were mainly fixes for issues like no longer locking onto some targets when in unguided mode. Lock-ons were difficult in certain environments, for instance, city biomes and fences, lights on the weapon, and the folding of the sight when in unguided mode. I went in and tested it this morning, and it seems to be working overall better, although it felt weaker somehow. Maybe it was just my testing, and I'm sure I will receive some feedback about the weapon, and that would be great for you, my viewers, to test out and comment on. In the onboard ship stratagem computer, they've now gone in and added videos on the stratagem purchase screens for both the K9 guard dog and the GL52 de-escalator, which you can see playing there in the background. A big one everyone was hoping was just a glitch in the Matrix is up next. The AXLAS5 guard dog no longer returns to your backpack when it needs to reload and cool down. Again, I tested it this morning and I can confirm it stays out there and in the fight, although the sound seems to have been broken, as you can't hear it firing at all. Sound breaking is going to show up a little later in today's video, and I feel like this is something Arrowhead will quickly find and correct. I mean, at least it is staying up in the air and hitting targets for damage. Sticking with stratagems, and the one true flag had an issue where if you planted it too close to an objective item, it would cause them to clip through the ground, which, according to the patch notes, has now been fixed. Now, I've personally never seen this one happen, and I could not duplicate it during this morning's testing, but if you happen to see it after today's update, please let me know in the comments, and I will, of course, do my best to forward it over to Arrowhead QA. A couple of small fixes were also in this morning's patch. One to the user interface when using weapons with selectable ammo like the recoilless and autocannon, having their icons overwritten by the warrants guided unguided mode. And finally, the AR-32 pacifier had an issue corrected where it would have a spent casing that would not eject from the ejection port. This is a separate header on the patch notes, but it kind of relates to the issues we were seeing with the one true flag, so I'm next going to include it here. But the note says that some issues where enemies would clip into certain terrain elements is mentioned. Now, what enemies and how it occurs is not mentioned, so this could be anything from flesh mobs going underground and biting our ankles to something completely different. However, Arrowhead does say that they are still resolving these issues and that they aren't done with the fixes yet. If you visited the ship computer lately, you've probably noticed UI issues with selecting skins for our equipment, and as you can see from the testing, you now have all your exosuit, you have all your Hellpod and shuttle skins laid out horizontally for you where you can see them all, but there's still a little bit of clipping and a tiny scroll built in as well. All cities will now display in the city availability UI, and they mentioned they fixed the borderline justice armors to be more accurate to their stats. Example given, slight improvements to draw speed. Now, I made a video about this a while ago showcasing standard armor versus borderline justice armor and how the percentages were off, which, by the way, I did forward over to QA back then, and I wonder if today's changes were fixes to what I sent over, again, back then. I didn't have the time to test it out before posting this video, but the recoil reduction alone for sidearms should be significantly different from borderline justice armors over to basically any other armor. Let me know if you've used one of the armor sets this morning since the patch, and are you personally seeing the differences between using it and not using it? Moving next to the mission fixes, and one that I received several DMs about, Horde mode missions spawning at lower than difficulty 5 has apparently now been corrected, as Arrowhead says it was causing some breaks in functionality. Also, certain bug missions would not spawn during operations has also been fixed, although based on the new major order we just received, stay tuned for that one, we'll have to test that out at a later date. How about balancing? I know, right? You hear that word and you instantly get apprehensive. Well, here's what was done. The Mega Shrieker Nest have had their health buffed, which is to make them more challenging and to provide more solutions to destroy them. And yeah, overall, I have to agree with this one because before they were just easy to pop from range, basically making them irrelevant. Leviathans also saw a massive change to how they target divers, giving you what amounts to a spotlight on the ground, almost like what you see with meteor showers, indicating where the levs are about to fire at, giving players a fair warning and at least a few seconds to avoid and evade and try to dive out of the way. Now, we've all been suffering at the hands of the levs ever since we left Super Earth and entered more open country, and getting sniped across the map with no warning was just super frustrating. Again, I tried to test it this morning, but I couldn't get a lev to spawn in, but I have seen some posts confirming that the change is decent, so again, fingers crossed it works out. And finally, how about some crash fixes? Well, there's 4 of them here, and only the first one I tested out, a crash that occurred when changing between menus and weapon customization too quickly, and sadly, it's still there. At least it was for me. In fact, this was my very first attempt to duplicate it, and toggling between customization and the skin screen landed me back on Steam with a report crash pop-up. So again, at least for me on PC, this one is still here, and I did already report it back to QA. And to round out this section, over to the known issues board we go, and since last patch, we've had some obvious audio issues in the game, namely items working on screen but the audio is just simply missing, such as the stim pistol firing with no sound, and the quasar cannon doing much the same. But as of this morning, both have now made it onto the known issues board, along with a new item that reads, melee weapons will lose their effectiveness when used after stimming. Also, going back to that sound issue for just a moment, and we might as well add on the laser guard dog to the known issues board because, as of my testing this morning, the laser is firing and it's damaging targets, but no sound cues are present. One good thing about me posting a little late this morning is that I was editing this video when the latest major order hit the airwaves. So we have breaking news here. Now, not only did we get the success message from our most recent Terminate-based MO, so expect those medals to arrive, but here's the latest from Helldivers HQ about our new task. Here's what it says. The Super-Earth Satellite Observation Network has regained operability, rectifying earlier Illuminate sabotage. This restored galactic oversight has revealed new acts of war across multiple Federation planets. The Illuminate fugitives have not merely occupied our cities, they have twisted them into totalitarian strongholds. Ooh. Comparative topography confirms preliminary intel. Our metropolises appear to have undergone unsanctioned re-engineering. The fate of the millions trapped within these altered cityscapes is unknown. Their conversion into hostile biological assets is probable. They are considered compromised until proven otherwise. Helldivers, you are to reclaim these cities for Super-Earth. Systematically dismantle all non-compliant xenostructures, extract any uncorrupted civilian survivors, and eradicate all hostile elements to prevent their resurgence from these new layers. The success of this vital mission rests entirely on your shoulders. The TLDR here is that we've got a new 5-day major order down in the southern areas of the galactic map versus the Squid, with our task being to liberate 𝗷𝗍𝗏 3 and Alamac 7. Both currently show low resistance rates as well, and it makes me wonder what else might be happening based on those low rates and only 2 planets in 5 days. Let me know what you think might happen in the comment section. Are we looking at complications and further counterattacks? Yeah. Sound off with your best theories. I've already been asked about this next topic and started to see some comments about it as well, and it boils down to Arrowhead not releasing the review bomb cape to the player base. Now, we've seen both mentioned by multiple devs now, and we've seen it in the past, even from Johan, that the cape was done and ready to ship, but they didn't want to release it, again, until the region lock nonsense was concluded, which it now is. Now, believe me, I'm not downplaying our other memorable campaigns like Malevelon Creek and, of course, the recent defense of Super-Earth, but the review bomb cape is special. It's one of, if not the most coveted cosmetics supposedly coming to this game, where the Helldiver army was so mighty in its resolve, it got Sony, a company known to not yield to any customer request, to do a full 180 in real life over those few days that the PSN linking fiasco was taking place last May. We've then waited out a year on the front lines to finally see the vast majority of the globe restored to having the ability to purchase the game, and this morning not a peep about that review bomb cape. Now, don't get me wrong again, I think the Super-Earth cape is beautiful and the changes were appreciated in today's patch, but not getting the review bomb cape in today's update is, to me, like attending a Rammstein concert and they sing everything in their catalog except Deutschland. You leave the concert wondering what happened because, you know, the pyro was on point, the sound was great, the show looked amazing, but that one iconic tune was missing from their set, and it just left a lingering question on your mind. Is Arrowhead redesigning this cape again? Are they now concerned about releasing it and angering Sony? I honestly don't know, but it felt like this would have been an easy slam dunk, massive W for them to release it today. And again, not a mention about it anywhere in the patch notes or in the announcements in their official Discord. Anyways, fingers crossed we get that thing ASAP, because that is a cause that is very near and dear to my heart. Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. We have channel memberships in place for those of you wanting to take your support to the next level. Just look for the join button on my YouTube channel homepage. And by the way, a massive thanks to all of you who've already taken the plunge and become members. Without your support, content like this would not be possible. Until the next one, this is Lieutenant 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏